AI will ruin gaming, but not in the way you think. Gaming has evolved a lot over the years, and technology surrounding gaming has also progressed a lot to make the experience more fun for everyone. But on the horizon, there is something new that threatens to change everything forever: AI. AI isn't really new, but MSI's latest innovation has got a lot of people worried, and rightfully so. They're working on an AI monitor, and at first glance, it seems harmless, but on closer inspection, it starts to raise some concerning questions about the future of gaming. Right now, the monitor only works for League of Legends, but it has features that give indicators where the enemy champions would be. These features only use things that the player would be able to infer with the information already available to them, but it cuts out some of the work the player has to do. Although this seems mildly useful, it's not hard to imagine the implications here for cheaters and the extrapolation in the future. Imagine a world where the line between fair play and cheating is blurred beyond recognition, where cheaters can go completely undetectable to the average player, professional, or even anti-cheat software. Outlines around enemies, revealing their positions with pinpoint accuracy. Enemies lurking behind walls, exposed on players' monitors by a combination of audio and visual cues. The possibilities are endless, as they are terrifying. As everything progresses and develops, one question looms large. How can gaming's competitive integrity survive in a world dominated by AI? The first thing we should ask ourselves is, how did we even get here? Well, to even understand the present, we have to look at the past first. A history of cheating spanning throughout all eras of online gaming tells a story as old as the games themselves. We've all experienced cheating, whether it was done to you or you were the perpetrator. This could be anywhere from looking at the smart kid's answers during a test to lying about what move you made in chess when your opponent wasn't paying attention. Experiencing cheating is just a natural part of developing through life. For the online world, cheating takes on a different form. Players using bots to collect materials in an MMO, or downloading wall hacks or aim hacks that make themselves unstoppable in shooters. Cheating also invaded the safe haven of gaming. And this wasn't an issue that was just restricted to small games either. One of the most popular games in the world struggled with this problem too: World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has had to deal with a variety of different types of cheating, but one of the methods that was incredibly obvious when you see it: botting. Like I said earlier, players used bots to complete quests, gather resources, and a lot more. Not only did they give players an advantage, but they were also really unsightly to look at for the average player. So how did Blizzard initially deal with the problem? Simple. Rocks. By putting a rock in the path of bots, Blizzard devs could get the bots stuck and manually ban each and every one of them. It definitely wasn't an efficient method, but it was better than nothing. Now, normally if you're cheating, you run the risk of getting caught, which means being shunned from your circle or maybe banned from a venue. But what about online? Even if another player saw you cheating, catching and punishing you through online anonymity is rough. The players that made these bots can just make more, and they can make them way faster than Blizzard can deal with them. The time it takes to manually ban 10 bots is more than the time it takes to automatically create 100 more. Game companies would have to develop more advanced and efficient methods if they wanted to deal with cheaters. They would have to develop anti-cheat software that would automatically detect bots, or people using outside software to give themselves an advantage. Game companies like Valve and Respawn would have anti-cheats, but also be notorious for being unbearable to deal with cheaters in their games, like Counter-Strike and Apex Legends. Eventually in 2020, with the release of Valorant, Riot Games promised a safe haven from cheats with their new Vanguard anti-cheat. The only problem? They needed full access to your PC in order to function, which is very uncomfortable for a lot of players. But as technology to detect cheaters advanced, so did the methods to go undetected. With some companies finally providing a reliable way to catch cheaters early, AI stands to threaten all of that progress by giving players an undetectable method to continue cheating if they want to. And what about when AI has the power to emulate the skills of professional players with uncanny precision? Aim hacks that unnaturally snap to heads are really easily recognizable, but what about being able to perfectly mimic the natural movements of a skilled gamer? An AI that can perfectly replicate the way that TENS aims and moves after a kill? Wall hacks that defy detection by being displayed using tech that originates directly from your monitor? When the technology is significantly advanced, how will we be able to tell what's real from what's fake? If an AI can replicate the mechanics of human players with such accuracy, how can we ever trust that we're competing against real opponents and not just a machine? The future shown is one where competitive integrity and AI exist on opposite ends of the spectrum. The more we progress in one direction means that we're guaranteed to lose ground on the other. With all that being said, there are a few things that feel off about the notion of an AI gaming apocalypse. History has shown us time and time again that innovation has a way of overcoming even the most ridiculous of challenges. For example, early on in League of Legends' lifetime, there are things that also threaten the competitive integrity of the game, like Curse Voice. Curse Voice was an application that offered a lot of controversial features at the time, that bordered on cheating to a lot of players' eyes. Back in the day, players had to track when jungle camps respawned, but with Curse Voice, you could track that automatically. On top of that, players that had Curse Voice would automatically join a voice chat at the start of games, and that gave them a significant communication advantage over the enemy team that wasn't using it. But the funny thing is, what was once seen as a threat to the competitive integrity of the game ultimately became an integral part of the gaming experience itself. That's because Curse Voice was eventually banned by League of Legends from being used, but the features in Curse Voice eventually came back and became integrated into League of Legends itself. Crazily enough, jungle timers were later officially introduced into the game in patch 4.12, and this was Riot's explanation. We want League to be all about the smart decisions you make in the moment, and how well you make plays around those moments, rather than how well you can track certain timers. There's definitely skill in memorizing information, but our philosophy on gameplay clarity is making sure that skillful decisions can be made with the right information, and that players are fighting each other, not the system. So what was once deemed taboo became part of the game's design philosophy, and the skills that were deemed important became clear and more defined. Okay, so that's cool and all, but how does that apply to AI? While the magnitude at which AI cheating can reach is definitely scary, it also poses the question that Curse Voice posed to League of Legends. What skills from the game that we play are actually important to us? Perhaps the future of gaming lies not in resisting change, but embracing it. If cheating becomes undetectable, then maybe it's time to redefine what it means to compete. Are there any positives for the future? Well, I think the potential benefits of AI extend far beyond the realm of cheating, and they also offer a glimpse into a future where gaming is more inclusive and accessible than before. A world where barriers are broken down and disabilities are no longer an obstacle to enjoy gaming. Where competition has more of a human element and respect, rather than the current era of anonymous toxicity. For accessibility, audio inputs can be converted into visual aids for the deaf. For the colorblind, there are so many variations that it can be incredibly frustrating. AI can provide a more customizable and adaptable way for those players to enjoy a wider variety of games. And for everyone, we could use AI to automatically translate different languages to break down the communication barriers across different countries, allowing for a way more global experience. AI-generated voice filters can make each player sound like the character they're playing. Imagine playing Valorant where your Jett player actually sounds like Jett when they're talking over voice comms, and it can be in whatever language you speak. Outside of being just a cool feature, it helps standardize voices when you're playing with a random player every game. Sometimes it's hard to recognize a new person's voice, but if you hear Cypher saying, "they're here on A," and you know Cypher's playing A, it's a lot easier to react. These are just a few examples, but the possibilities are endless. I also think it's a little bit naive to think that AI can be used to completely circumvent cheating, and we won't be able to develop any methods with AI to counteract it. But in a world where it is impossible to detect cheaters and they do run rampant, competitive gaming could only exist on a LAN setting then. LAN centers could guarantee the uniformity of equipment used in order to circumvent cheating. That would also be a wild world where ranked queues are only available on LAN-sanctioned equipment, while online gaming at home is mostly geared towards casual or single-player gaming. But some places are a little bit harder to popularize LAN centers than others. Like, the US is a lot harder than the East when it comes to popularizing LAN, and it's due to a combination of cultural and infrastructure differences. It's usually not as economically viable to run a LAN center in the US due to costs, and online gaming is readily available in many homes. And the sheer geographical size of the country makes it harder to find a convenient location for LAN centers to access a large number of people that would actually want to use it. But a culture of arcades did exist, and LANs could come back in the West if AI is en route to ruin online gaming. In this age of the internet, people have been craving the return of a shared third space. Convenient places offline where they can meet and interact with real people. They're tired of dating apps filled with bots and surface level interactions, social media and videos with carefully curated profiles bombarding you with ads and product placements. Nowadays, people are feeling more lonely than ever, despite being more connected than ever with the internet. And with AI making it much harder to tell who's real and who's fake, I can only really see it getting worse. I think we're learning that present day internet just doesn't have the level of connection that we crave, but we also don't have a safe space to build those connections yet. And over time, I can see that culture pushing gaming towards a more physical space like LANs. Now look, the impact of AI on gaming is a topic of a lot of debate and speculation on what's real and what's fake. But for gamers, it might be just a roundabout way to lead us to a safe haven where we know we're interacting with real people that simply just enjoy the same hobbies that we do.